We can probably establish that the world is fake. Everything we thought is fucking fake.
There's a lot of stuff that's fake.
It's pretty much all of it's a scam and fake.
And it's always been that way. And it wasn't until the internet came along that the facade got lifted. And now we're forced to reconcile, and we're forced to. I mean, there's still some people that won't abandon these narratives. You know, I'm with the good side, you're with the bad side, and they really don't see that there's a lot of things that are put in play that are just to keep us angry at each other. Like drag queens in schools, like drag queens teaching kids shows, like. Why is that in the news? Like that is in the news to get people upset. Should that be happening?
Third
no,
trimester abortion.
Right.
You know,
Why is that in the news?
Let's piss off the conservatives. You know, all of this stuff. Yeah.
There's a real desire, and this sounds so conspiratorial, but there's a real desire to keep us at each other's throats.
Divide and conquer.
Because if we're not, then you realize that most people are good people. Most people just want their friends to be happy. They want to have a family. They want their family to be happy. They want to be able to say hi to their neighbors. And they want to be able to do what they want to do for a living. And if you could, like, do that, like, that's what most people want. And then you have to figure out what are these arguments that can get people that are just normal like that to the point where, fuck that guy. I hope that guy dies. Or fuck. And for a lot of people, it was just COVID.
Well, let's stay there with the vaccine. So now I think it's universally accepted this thing doesn't really work. But most people...
It certainly doesn't work how they initially thought it was going to.
I mean, now,
and there's a lot of reasons for that, right? That the virus mutated and changed. And,
I mean, first
and also that the antibodies that are imparted by the vaccine, they only last a certain amount of time.
Sure.
Right?
But that was not the story.
No.
And it degenerated down to take the booster because you will not get sick and won't have to go to the hospital.
Right.
So it went from 95% effective, you won't spread it, you won't get it, to, oh, sorry, okay, we're here.
Yeah.
At least you won't go to the hospital and be really sick. The next step is you'll die, but you'll go to heaven. I mean, I don't know what they're going to say next. But most people don't know that. Most people aren't involved in look. I mean, they're so tired of the shit that they read People Magazine, USA Today, and they get your booster. That families are still torn apart. I know many, my own family to a degree. We have disagreements over this.
It's really fascinating because there's a lot of people that will say things like, trust the science. I trust the science. But there's no such thing as the science. Science is data. And you have to listen to if the data is being controlled by certain people that have a vested financial interest in controlling the data and controlling the narrative, then that's not science. Like you're saying science because you've already decided that you're on the good side and the good side did this and they did it for the right reasons.
It's also been hammered into us by authority figures.
Exactly.
Follow the science, trust the science, it's the science. I am the science, Fauci said.
But it's also this natural, territorial, tribal instinct we have to to claim land and ideas. We claim ideas and then we shove them down people's throats. That's what religion has always done. And there's a lot of people that are atheists that don't think of themselves as being religious. But you are religious. You're acting exactly that way. You just don't believe in a deity. Or you don't actively discuss a deity. But you're still behaving in a very tribal way where you want other people to think and behave exactly the way you do. And you're willing to overlook some awful shit on your side, and you're willing to exaggerate some shit on the other side, and you're willing to look at the fringes on both sides. If you really broke it down, the real issue is with the people who are the most awful on both sides.
Sure, of course.
That's the real. But everybody's on the same team, so you have to fucking pretend these people lighting churches on fire aren't fucking assholes. These people lighting schools on fire and lighting courthouses on fire. The mostly peaceful. Oh, it's mostly peaceful, Adam
Burning
Curry.
in the background.
I fucking saw someone again say this because of what happened in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Cop City thing.
Yeah, and they were
there was
calling
literally
this
a cop car on fire.
Anyway, they were calling it mostly peaceful
in CNN's backyard. I know it's fantastic.
You're not the fucking propaganda department. You can't define things in a way to calm people down. That's not what your fucking job is.
But
you're bullshitting people. You're acting as a propagandist. Like that's not. It's not mostly peaceful when a car's on fire.
So what was?
That's like fucking real dangerous. Hey, Dad, how was the party? That was pretty good, son. But
what was really telling was when you were being accused of eating horse paste.
Yes.
And then you had Sanjay Gupta on, and you said, "Why the fuck did they lie about that?" And he could not answer. His brain could not process the question.
Someone should come along that does what they do, but do it in a way where you're not lying, where you're only giving information, the uncomfortable information that people probably don't want to hear. You're just giving them data. You're just telling them what's going on in the world. You're talking about murder, and you're talking about crime, and you're talking about war. It's all awful shit. But just don't do it in a way where you're bullshitting people.
Yeah, you're just not going to get that. I mean, this is what the...
But I don't think people... I don't think people are tolerating it anymore. They don't just believe it anymore.
A lot of people have checked out, which is, I think is the most dangerous. They check out like, whatever, I don't care. I'll just believe whatever I believe. The internet made the job of the intelligence agencies and propagandists so much easier. You're right that because of the internet, we can find out more stuff when we communicate directly. But what we saw during COVID, you had an opinion that wasn't the mainstream science, and you got kicked off, and you were deplatformed, and you weren't. I think the one thing Elon is doing was really smart, is he will, and I disagree, I don't like it personally, but the digital ID, he's onboarding people with a financial authentication. So you have to be Joe Rogan on Twitter. I have to be Adam Curry on Twitter. I can't be, random dude with a fake name, and I can't just be calling people out for shit. So, if you disparage someone, or if you slander them, you can get sued, and I think that is proper. And he may have his reasons why he's doing that. But Twitter is going to be...
It's also absolved. You can't have cowards. They're saying horrible, horrible things, and
but
they're
when
just
it's anonymous,
hiding behind an anonymous name.
When you can be anonymous. Now, I mean, we've been trained. Twitter's been around for a while. Facebook has been around for a while. We've been trained to be a part of these circles, be a part of these networks, and it's so bad now that Twitter, like transport companies use Twitter to communicate to people who use the buses. It's like it's so ingrained in the infrastructure of the world.
Well,
it's really incredible.
It's not normal human communication, so you don't get the same feedback, but it has normal human consequences. Like, you could write awful things on Twitter about someone, they read it, and it makes them feel terrible. Just the way it would, and maybe even in a weirder way than if they were saying it to your face.